the beginning of life on this planet. We know it took years and years to be where we are. But how? Did Harry Potter swish his magic stick and boom, we're in the 21st century? Obviously, no. So, how to know more about life? Well, biology, as it studies the essence of life on Earth. Generally speaking, the essence is one's innate characteristics. Likewise, metabolism, growth, consciousness, reproduction, to name a few, constitute the essence of living organisms. Simply speaking, you are living because of these characteristics, or scientists will declare you non living. But who is the driver of this magic? The answer is yes, reproduction. Be it birds, animals, humans, or even those tiny microbes reproduce young ones. So, let us discuss one of the modes of reproduction, that is, sexual reproduction. It is a process in which organisms are created by combining the genetic information from two individuals of different sexes. The genetic information is carried on chromosomes within the nucleus of specialized cells called gametes. These gametes fuse to form zygote during the process of fusion called fertilization. This zygote grows into an embryo to create a whole new organism. And now, why sexual reproduction? This is because it gives an advantage of genes of two parents, upping the chance of survival. It is the master of the great diversity we see today. Surprisingly, it manages to drive us, diverse organisms, with some non diverse patterns that every organism goes through no matter the dissimilarities. Perhaps these will help you clarify. All organisms have to reach a certain stage of growth and maturity in their life before they can reproduce sexually. This phase is called the vegetative phase in plants and juvenile phase in animals, the end of which is the beginning of the reproductive phase. For creating offspring sexually, each organism goes through three distinct phases, namely pre-fertilization, fertilization, and post-fertilization. Now, let us have a closer understanding of these phases one by one. First is the pre-fertilization stage. It includes the events that take place prior fertilization, that is, gametogenesis and gamete transfer. To make it simpler, let's understand what is a gamete. Well, a gamete is a male or female cell that joins with a cell of the opposite sex to form a zygote, also known as sex or reproductive cell. Gametes are haploid, which means that they contain only half the genetic material necessary to form a complete organism. So, how are gametes formed? Well, it is formed by the process known as gametogenesis, where cell division takes place by two methods. Mitosis, where a cell splits to form identical daughter cells, and meiosis, where a single cell divides twice to form four daughter cells. Sexual reproduction is all about fusion of gametes. Being biparental, it becomes essential for the gametes to be transferred so that their fusion leads to fertilization. Now, these gametes are transferred by various ways. It varies from different organisms. Simple plants like algae use water as a medium, while seed plants use pollens. In humans, the female gamete is stationary, while the male gamete is motile. But a large number number of male gametes fail to reach the female gametes. To compensate for this loss, several thousands of male gametes are produced. Fertilization is also known as syngamy. It is the story of male gamete trying to unite with the female gamete to create new life. We have already seen how haploid gametes are formed through cell division. These haploid cells fuse to form diploid zygote, the precursor of an embryo. We have seen how male gametes are produced in large numbers to ensure fertilization taking place. But this becomes all the more important if fertilization is external and takes place outside the body of the organisms to enhance the survival rate of gametes and ensure that they reach the desired target. However, terrestrial plants or us humans carries out this process inside the female body. Usually, the male gametes are smaller, motile, and in vast numbers, and the female gametes are larger, non-motile, and lesser in number in such scenarios. Finally, these gametes fuse to form a zygote. So, what happens next? Events that occur after the zygote formation are what post-fertilization events are all about. Once the single-cell zygote is formed, the next process is the development of zygote, followed by the formation of an embryo. Depending on the place where the development of zygotes takes place, organisms can be viviparous, where the development of zygote takes place inside the body of the organism, or oviparous, where the development of the zygote takes place outside the body of the organism. However, in all the flowering plants, zygote is formed inside the ovule. The zygote then develops into the embryo. The dictionary defines an embryo as an unborn or unhatched offspring in the process of development. This development occurs in two stages. First, the cell division, and second, the cell differentiation. So, what roles do they play? Well, cell division increases the number of cells in the developing embryo by the process of mitosis. Cell differentiation, on the other hand, helps these cells turn into specialized tissues and organs. I see super bonding between them, so much so that their united we stand policy completely give rise to a new organism. Beauty, diversity, and yet individuality are the essence of the world that surrounds us, where each one is trying to somehow be in the race of life by any and every means that they have at their disposal. In the end, what we get is something that transcends those man-made definitions of life. There is nothing more spectacular than the miracle of birth.